Oh, he did it on
Okay, are we
purpose.
up?
We know.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Okay, Dawn, you got any minutes and reports received and filed?
I do. I have the collector's January 2022 fees and the treasurer's January 2022 reconciliation report.
Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
We've got our ARPA committee meeting this afternoon at 3. Solid Waste Management District Board meeting tomorrow at 1. Small Communities Informational Meeting for Public Works Wednesday, 6 p.m.
We got refreshments, right?
Sure, if you're bringing them.
We got our JCREP Board and Investor meeting Thursday at 3 o'clock as well. Chamber Connections, I think, is Thursday afternoon. FFA dinner Saturday. I think they still have tickets for that. If you want to go, you might want to get hold of them ASAP because I think they need a head count. It's out at Wardsville Lions. I got radio with Scribner on Sunday, so probably shouldn't tell you all that. You'll be calling in. Stay in, sleep in, Sam. I think that's about it.
Now we're up and running already.
Yep. Nope. No, we did our just Monday holiday then. Okay, so if we need stuff on the agenda, we need to get it there early as
Friday.
possible. I think that's it.
Thursday. We're gonna have that one day.
Oh, yeah.
Friday, 9 a.m.
Yes. Please, preferably before.
I know.
In addition to what Jeff has said, I have a Heartland Port Authority meeting on Thursday.
In addition, I think we still have a schools meeting tomorrow at 2. And then we were supposed to have a meeting Friday with the chief of the Osage, but that's been postponed again, so that's all I've got. Okay. Any commission comments? Bids and contracts. Contract signing of 2022-01 EMS vehicle fleet maintenance.
This was awarded last week to Donnie Bronze and Sons, and so today I'm just needing the contract signing on it.
Good. Make a motion to sign the contract for the 2022-01 EMS vehicle fleet maintenance.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any unfinished business? Okay. New business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
So I know we had our training. Do we have mileage reimbursements on those?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean,
So
wait
if they
till the
come
end of the
on there,
month.
then let's push, don't approve it. We'll push it to the next week.
This is more the credit cards. than
Okay.
e-cards.
All right, just making sure.
Motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, multimodal rail facility discussion with JC Regional Economic Development Partnership.
So we've been working with the JC rep and Midmo RPC to come up with this project, and it is a multimodal facility in the Algoa area. It's a rail spur extension and a rail offloading facility, and Luke Holtschneider with JC rep and David Bach with Midmo RPC are here to talk about the process. Luke can probably give a summary of the project and how we've come to today, and then where to go moving forward. It is going to be a public-private partnership, and a good portion of the funds will come from hopefully the successful receipt of an economic development administration grant through the U.S. Department of Commerce. So I'll turn it over to Luke, and he can explain more of the project, and we'll get into some final details at the end.
Okay, good morning, everybody. And so just appreciate the opportunity to explore the project fully with the commission. I've had a chance to visit with each of you individually over previous weeks. To kind of give you some background on the conversations that have led to the meeting today, but ultimately seeking full commission support to pursue some additional funding from other sources to move this project forward. So as Eric mentioned, from a high level, the concept is to build and develop a multimodal, so a rail and surface transportation facility out in it's called the Partnership Business Park, but it's the Algoa Industrial Area. There's currently rail access available to individual sites, industrial sites, currently out in Algoa Park, but the ability for additional use for other industries not currently rail served is minimal, and that is really a strategic asset that many companies, industries are seeking for the high cost of transportation infrastructure for raw material coming in as well as finished material going out. So kind of stepping back, probably 2.5 months ago, I think it was late November, maybe early December, started to explore this concept. From a high level, it had been discussed in conversation in previous years, but it never really was further pursued to determine the feasibility. So we called in David Bach with Minmo Regional Planning Commission to help explore this concept to see if it's viable. We brought in the Federal Economic Development Agency, which is an arm of the Department of Commerce at the federal level, to see the potential for them to partner in funding for this concept. And based on a reaction from EDA at the front end of the conversation, they were very interested, primarily because it's dealing with additional economic infrastructure, as well as it has the opportunity to assist industries regionally. So it's not specific to one industry or one community, but it has the potential to be a regional asset. So based on their support to pursue the project, pull together a team, including the county, Minmo Regional Planning Commission, some private partners. We've engaged with the city on this concept to explore the viability and feasibility in order to pursue the project. And so we've worked with CMPS to put together a preliminary engineering report, which I believe Eric has provided at least components of that to the commission for some visual representation. But ultimately, it was about a little over a $3 million cost estimate for the initial construction of the infrastructure. So the beginning build out of this multimodal facility. So the initial phase would be the extension of rail service of around 3,500 feet to a multimodal facility, which would then have about 3,000 or a little above rail lines that would be for loading and unloading. So your main 3,500 foot line that would then have branches off of it, I think allowing like 3 separate spurs to be built at this facility. So the $3 million is for basic construction of that of those rail components, but the land that we're looking at has the opportunity of 20 to 25 additional acres that would be able to be used for additional storage, warehousing, and kind of lay down space as part of the multimodal. So during this process, we've reached out to roughly 25, 30 industries in about 5 counties, including Cole, to seek support and interest. Very good response to this point of clear intent to utilize this facility if built, but then others that support the concept and would further explore it moving forward. So what we would like to discuss and ultimately receive feedback on is would the county, as the owner of the rail service currently out in the Partnership Business Park, be the willing applicant to the EDA in the request of $1.5 million. The grant request would need to be in by the end of this month. We've been working on this to build the contents and build the narrative and put together the cost estimates over the past couple months now, but we're needing kind of that final approval to ultimately submit the request to EDA, and we really need to have that in by the end of this month to get our place in line. Again, the request would be about $1.5 million. That's where we're capped by EDA. They can do up to 50% of a project cost, not to exceed $1.5 million. So our threshold is 1.5. The additional match or other funds necessary, we would be looking at both public and private. We've explored in conversation to see, the potential for the county to be a supporting partner, the city. There's private industry that have voiced willingness to support this project as well, as we would also be looking at state resources, as mentioned previously, that are rolling out this summer to support this. So really feel it's a transformational, development opportunity to provide our industries an asset that they currently don't have, and those that do have it, it would not take away from their current situation. So anything I'm missing out, or?
Of course, we'll have discussion, but ultimately, we would need a support letter from the county commission, which I sent a draft of what that could look like. It's definitely open to suggestions. And then in talks with the city about the possibility of this being a cooperative project with cooperative project funding, we've also prepared a draft of a development agreement between the city, county, and a private partner that would be signed once receipt of the grant is given. We won't sign or do this agreement until we know the grant's received, and then we can move forward with what we know would be the funding request, additional funding request at the time. And so in talking with David, that's acceptable for the grant submittal. We don't have to have the signed agreement. We just have to have a draft of what it would be. Another item that it will be brought to the table, and it will be included in the submittal for the grant, would be securing an operator for this rail spur line and facility. Right now, there is no operator for the current rail that we have other than us, and I wouldn't really call us an operator in the true sense of it. So we would include in the submittal a draft RFP to request proposals for somebody to be the operator of the system, and that would be the full from the UP main line, the full rail spur, and then the facility. So that would be part of ultimately where we would like to go with this rail spur and service out there.
I think right now, I don't know why we wouldn't be the party that applies for that $1.5 million. So I mean, that's what you're asking today, and I would hope that our commissioners, my fellow commissioners, are also okay with applying for that, because that's what you're asking now.
And we would have roughly 10-ish, we'll say 10 months from the point of applying before ever being awarded. And so a lot of those items that Eric mentioned, within probably about 3 months, we'll get a informal kind of response from EDA letting us know that there's further consideration given. So they're continuing to move through the process. It'll be contingent, but we know that we're in the mix.
Okay.
And we wouldn't anticipate a final approval till probably very late in calendar year 22, maybe early 23. And so that time period gives us the opportunity to get all those other pieces in place prior to ever getting awarded the final grant. So, but the rough part of this is that the quick turnaround is just due to a very competitive grant cycle and the need to get ourselves in line to ultimately be considered right now.
Luke, the way this, the numbers on this could work out or might work out is 3.2 total minus 1.5 equals 1.7, less other state money, private money. You net down to something, and you divide that by 2, and half of it is county, half of it is city.
Correct.
Correct.
So we're looking at and have already initiated conversations with a contribution credit program that could help reduce the the overall finances based on a contribution tax credit to reimburse those donors. Also looking at other state programs that could specifically help finance some of the infrastructure. So yes, we're starting with 1.5 to 1.7 million as the match, but ultimately we're going to continue to close that gap to make that number consistently smaller.
I just want to say something about I know the operations of the track itself, but keep in mind the insurance part of that liability going forward.
That
So
would
that could be
be,
worked in somehow.
definitely.
Well, I think the BH&O Railroad, Bushman, Helsher, and Otto, we're in the railroad business, so we just, we can do that, but, and I think really this could benefit the port, even though it's on the other side of Algoa, but it's, I could see some of our entities that are shipping, by barge or having stuff come in by barge could use this too, so.
Yeah, the operations part has been something, that's the angle that I really liked it, because we would still own it, but we'd be out of the business of having to maintain it, and we get these nice letters saying you have to do this and that, and occasionally we've got to do some kind of maintenance on it, and then the insurance and stuff, we can roll that into the operations of it and take it off of our lap. I think it'd pay us back over a certain amount of time. I don't know if it'd be 10 years or 30 years, but I think it's a good investment to take a look at.
This could be complementary to the Heartland Port location out there as well.
Yeah,
It would be ultimately the same rail service that would serve a port development on the south side of the river, and then with the capability for kind of lay down and storage space on a high ground that
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
negates the flooding impacts of the current port
Location,
sites or
yeah.
locations that are being looked at. This could be a complement to that.
What we need today then, just to agree to sign a letter to pursue the EDA
So,
grant?
yes, and I have a draft that I will send you and include possibly Debbie on it too, to review and make sure it's exactly how you want it. And then next week, we can approve the letter, sign
Okay.
the letter, and then
Okay.
get it to them, and then they'll move forward and be all ready to do the grant application.
What's the deadline for the application?
End of this month.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, then we're good, yeah.
yeah. We're good on grants.gov, sign-ups or.
It's been a challenge, but yes,
All right.
we are, with the help of Debbie, we are ready to go on that. So
Okay.
we're set up to where we can do the online submittal and be good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we'll sign the letter when you bring it up, and you just need kind of a go-ahead today. So no formal action?
I don't think so. I think tomorrow, or next
Okay.
week, we can do the letter and the formal approval of moving forward with the project and the grant submittal.
All right, cool.
Okay?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Been seeing a lot of y'all up here, Dave.
Yeah.
You and Lincoln.
Well,
Hard for y'all.
I
All right,
appreciate
glad to see
David.
it.
Like,
Good.
as I said,
Good
he's
job.
the one that brought the $2 million grant for the EMS to us, so you both are,
Good partners.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you,
all.
guys.
All right. Thank you
Thank you,
all.
Luke.
okay.
Eric, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I added this to the agenda, the Salute to America's Scholars sponsorship. And I know it's already in the budget, but I just thought we ought to formally approve we were doing 10,000 the last few years. We've been doing 5,000 for Salute to America, so.
Do we have a contract with them or anything, or just, we need to approve it?
We just modify the same one we do every year. Change
Okay.
the dates.
We'll bring that to you next agenda then.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it.
Okay, okay.
Just to speak on it for a second, the 4th of July is on a Saturday this year, I think. So on the 3rd, that Friday evening is when the festivities begin with a parade. I signed a contract yesterday with the acting as the chair of the Salute 22 for the fireworks. And this will be the first year, of course, we have access to Adrian's Island during that time, although we did learn that I think Parks wants to shut it off that evening and not have folks on the island the evening of the fireworks, but during the day for Friday, Saturday, and could be people still around Sunday, I guess.
What's on a Monday?
I'm sorry?
It's on Monday.
What is? The
Fourth
4th?
on Monday.
I'm sorry, then I've got the wrong date here. Okay, so still, the 3rd is the parade, which would be on Saturday?
Sunday would be.
I'm sorry. The parade is at 6:15, I think, the evening before. Move everything back a day. So, do we need a motion to make the payment, or we're okay?
We'll bring the contract next Tuesday, and then you can approve to sign that contract with them.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's in charge of weather? Request no rain for the parade.
Well.
Yeah, no fooling.
Wait a minute, that was a year ago, wasn't it?
2 years.
2
2 years ago,
was.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
got
Yeah.
drenched.
Yeah, no.
That's all right. One out of the last probably 13. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I had my Corvette out with it.
I expect there'll be some politicians with floats this year.
You think?
Could be.
Not me. I don't have that many friends. Our family, anyway. Okay, we will put that up until next week. Approval of second round of
Yeah,
premium.
Sam, I could go modify it and print it out right now.
That's fine. We can get it done.
Change
You
the
better.
dates.
Whatever.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna do. I think that's just what Sam wanted to make sure that we
Yeah.
had some kind of formal approval.
Yeah.
So
Okay, approval of second round of premium pay, and I guess,
What we're suggesting is the premium pay, this being the second round, get extended for 3 more pay periods, going to the last check being issued on March 31st, so it corresponds in line with our ARPA reporting to them, so for the quarter.
I'm good with it.
yeah.
Continuing.
I think for right now, we'll just continue, and then we can look at it at the end of March.
I'm good with that as well. Just to recap a little bit, a pay period of premium pay is approximately $57,000 cost. We've been through 2 of those, so we're at $114,000. If we did that for 26 pay periods, it'd be the $1.5 million that we sort of threw out there to that number. It's about $48,300 of pay, and the balance is payroll taxes and benefits and so on. So I'm with this. We're going to continue it for 3 more pay periods. We're going to monitor the environment that we're in terms of, is everything green? Are the numbers up, down, better? Debbie, you've told me that internally, our own people that report, they raise their hand because of COVID, and they're into the 40 hours that we extended. And over the last pay periods, that's been 19, or is that monthly, or is that pay period? Pay period. There were 19, there were 20, then it dropped to 8, but the next one's going to be 8 plus, we think. So it's trended down, but now it maybe it's plateaued down to a number, and we'll see what happens
Yeah.
as we go forward.
Right, and these are only employees that have actually requested it. If they know they've already used it, they won't request it.
Okay, so it's not a real true reading on cases internally,
Right,
but it's for those who've requested COVID.
right. And that will bring up actually next agenda,
Oh,
because that ends on February 28th, that 40 hours that you guys extended. So
Okay.
so that'll be coming up before onset.
Okay.
Is there a cumulative number of how many of our people have,
Oh, yes, we have very.
what is that number?
So there's not very many left. Is
That's what at some point we run out of,
Now, some people have used it several times, but to the total of only the amount of hours, they didn't need that many hours.
I'm sort of curious as to, of our total pay force of 400, 300, what do we have?
Yeah, about 400.
About 400. How many of the family of Cole have been through the ordeal? And that's, you don't have to give it to us right now, but sort of curious. Maybe Christie would, no.
We don't know
Yeah.
our employees.
Yeah, we would have to have that maybe someone come up, but there's lots of people who probably had it, didn't get tested.
Right.
True.
And then we have people who work for Cole County but don't live in Cole County, and we only get reported of those who live in Cole County.
Got it.
we do know some people that just get tested, home tested, but that's not what we require. We require a different kind of test for them to be able to apply for that time.
Okay.
Eric, are we still doing the testing out at Hyde Park?
We're not doing the testing at Hyde Park. We stopped that 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
We're still providing tests in-house. EMS is still providing tests for other public safety agencies when they need to. It has slowed down rapidly. However, we do see a couple tests a week that come back positive. So we are not in the clear yet.
Yeah.
Nobody's got the flu though these days, by golly.
Knock on wood, damn. We have a long ways to go still. Okay, so do we need a motion to approve the second round of premium pays?
I'll make a motion to approve the second round of premium pay for the next 3 pay periods.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll go back to the Salute to America sponsorship. This agreement is entered into this day, 2022, by and between the County of Cole and Salute to America Foundation. Whereas Salute to America organizes and presents an annual community celebration of the 4th of July that includes family entertainment, a variety of activities, music, and a fireworks display. And whereas the Cole County Commission finds that Salute to America provides a valuable community activity to the citizens of Cole County, now therefore the parties in consideration of the foregoing recitals and the mutual covenants and promises contained herein hereby agree as follows. The county will provide $5,000 to Salute to America. So,
Yeah, we've got it in the budget, so.
yeah. Yeah, probably.
Motion to make the contribution to Salute to America of $5,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, discussion of 2022-02 real estate bid, Mount Carmel Road.
Before you start, I'll just go ahead. We have 219 employees. 26 of them were reoccurring at some point, so a total of 100 and, sorry, subtract those.
That have used some of their time for the period. And that doesn't mean they had it, but there's people that have taken advantage of using it, so.
Well, and if they're kids at the beginning.
Right.
start-
Yeah.
Family.
I sent you that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Jess.
I think we're ready for you.
Ready? So I had the bid opening for the real estate sealed bid on Mount Carmel Road in Eugene. We had multiple individuals submit responses, with the highest being Kurt Gruss, offering $42,207. He did have a purchase offer signed and 15% of the amount he offered in a check. So today, if we award it to him, then we can sign the purchase offer. And Jeff, I know you had a question about the closing costs. It was in here that the buyer was responsible for closing costs and the recording costs.
Okay.
Well, Jill,
We're just gonna do a quick claim deed too. So whatever they choose to do with
So-
that.
There's still costs associated with it, so that was my question, is how, if we had that in the contract or the bid process, so it appears to be in there, so that answered my question on that, and we can't, I guess we need to have a closing date on it to get the title work done and the quitclaim deed done and to get a check. So,
Yeah, once I notify him, I'll call him today. He has 3 days to give us a check for the remaining amount.
are we gonna be ready to close on it in 3 days? We got all the title work done?
We didn't do any title work.
We gotta do something though that you take to the recorder to record the transfer, I thought.
The quick.
So,
We had that quitclaim deed. We
Okay.
acquired this property through a collector's deed.
I'm fine if that's all we need, I'm just saying that's, I'd be surprised if you can have it done in 3 days. So when he brings you money, he's gonna want title. So, okay, if that works, that's fine. If we gotta do something different, let us know.
Is this something
Do we-
need Cole County abstract involved in or somebody?
Well, they want to pay for it. It's kind of like when we acquired the parking lot from the city next to the church.
That happened in 3 days.
I scheduled that. I called Cole County Abstract.
That took 3 months or more.
Yeah, well, that's because they kept blowing it off.
They being the city.
Well,
Not
it took
Cole County.
Brian a while to get me a
Well, I
date.
mean, I was just asking you to who is they took the time?
Well, Ivy took his time getting the schedule for closing
Well, they kept saying we really didn't need,
because we weren't having title work done.
I withdraw my question. I'll make a motion that we sign the purchase order for the real estate on Mount Carmel Road.
and would that be something, Jill, that I would alone sign when we,
Well,
so do I
this-
need,
Hang on, we got a motion on the floor. I'll second it. So now you can discuss.
okay.
Sorry.
This is just the purchase agreement. They submitted that with their bid, and you're accepting that, so you're gonna sign it. So then after that is when all the mechanizations occur, as far as, you know, if they want title work done and all that business, then they schedule that, and they get us a check, and then I've already prepared the quitclaim deed. And Eric and I just have a question about the legal description.
And if that's all they need from us when they bring their check in, that's fine. I haven't done a lot of these quick claim deed transactions, so I wasn't sure. But I've done enough real estate transactions that I know that there's not much that happens in 3 days. So I just was making sure that we know that.
I'll just ask if Jessica can call him and tell him that, and then refer him to Jill for anything else or something, because, I mean, you're not in it anymore at that point.
Yeah.
Yep, you got the purchase order, so we're ready to go. Brings us
So
money.
if everything, and then do I need to have them amended to give me authority to sign?
Sign the quitclaim
Uh-huh.
deed. Yeah, why don't you make a vote to let Sam sign the quitclaim deed?
I'm fine with that too. Then you can do it whenever.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Well, I just wanted to see if we wanted to modify it.
can't have that motion.
Okay. Okay, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, another motion to authorize presiding commissioner to sign the quick claim deed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Okay.
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 We will move on. Health, Health Department refrigerator discussion.
Weren't y'all just here?
Right? We were. So
It's a chilling
Groundhog
issue.
Day was a
I
couple
told
weeks
you
ago.
they have a
Chilling
virus.
issue.
Our refrigerators have a virus. So, we got the one fixed with the evaporator coil, and then last week, one of the older ones, which is from 2005, the evaporator coil was fixed in 2019. It acted up and started having issues, so we had the same repairman come out and look at it, and he decided it was probably the evaporator coil again, and since we had already fixed it once, and this is a 2005 unit, to just replace it. So we have the two quotes from Helmer, which I sent to you. The refrigerator's about, with the standard shipping, it's $3,600. With their delivery to the health department and setup, it's $45. And then Donna and Tara did a little bit more research and got a couple more quotes.
Yeah, this one was a Thermo Fisher Scientific, and it was $10,948. And then we got one yesterday from ABS, and it is $5,750. The ABS one, I think, is the one that Tara said that the state person who does the audits with the VFC vaccine and stuff said that a lot of the people who use VFC use this one from American Biotech Supply. But when she goes over to St. Mary's and stuff, they have the Helmer. I mean, I think the Helmers have been fine.
Right,
but-
and the new Helmer is supposed to have a different glycol
Yes, it's supposed to be
container
with-
for the
yeah.
evaporator coil, so hopefully they don't have those issues anymore. So,
So is it a Helmer that we've got issues with from 2005?
yeah,
Yeah.
that we have 3 Helmers.
2019,
Right.
okay. I think Jeff had said that, maybe we don't need have them,
We had that one in there that's older, but
Right.
I don't think we can steal any parts off of there to make the other one work. That was
No.
one question I had, so. The other one was a lot older than I thought we'd have. We have a 2005, a 2008, and a 2019. And the 5 and 8 now would be done.
Right. Well, the 5.
Yeah, we have two of them from 2019. We bought them a few months apart, and then we have the 2005 one.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that we're using right now to operate. So the 2005 one is the one that started going out
Yeah.
last week, so.
I just need to figure out how to put a alarm, because that's basically the only difference between it and the other one is the alarm is on it, right?
The 2008 that's sitting in the other room.
Well, I mean, with
Oh.
these refrigerators in
Oh,
your,
yeah.
your residential refrigerator, they just have it hooked up to where it tells you if it's.
Well, we bought one of those one time, and we were using that for our commercial vaccine. But the temperature was all over this place. The Helmers are like, if you go, because we have to read the temperatures twice a day, the temperature stays even. So we were having problems. That one just it stayed within range probably, but it was just all over the place because they really weren't meant to be probably opened as much as we open them. I don't know anything about refrigerators, but.
It didn't seem to be as steady as temperature. And we
Right.
have money in the ELC expansion contract. I built in money for 2 refrigerators, so it'll be covered by the DHSS money. So,
Well, unfortunately, I think we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and get a new one. I was just trying to figure out if there's a different way to do it, and, I mean, it's not like your beer fridge, if it's,
Right.
5 degrees off, it's not that big a deal, you'll be all right, but when you have medicine that you're keeping
Right.
in there, so.
it is big dollars.
Or your
Right.
wine, right, Sam? Your whiskey.
bourbon.
Yeah.
Bourbon.
I don't have.
So we would
So-
still to recommend to go with the Helmer, and we would like to go ahead and pay the extra 1,000 for the True Blue delivery, because they set it up, they bring it into the health department. Otherwise, we have to have it delivered to the EMS building, and then we have to have it brought over and set up by our own staff.
I just have trouble swallowing that one. I don't know why can't they deliver it to the health department?
Because we don't have a dock. And they load it from
Think
their
you
truck.
need a dock. You got, get about 4 people and unload it and then take it off the crate and roll it in. They're on wheels.
Right. We can do it, right?
No, there are security there, so.
Right.
I think we should be able to do that part. I don't think you all should have to do it, the health department staff, but I think we've got people on staff here that can do it.
So if they deliver it to EMS, are you saying we can move it over to the health
I
department?
could get one more person with me and we could get it unloaded and
At the health
uncrated.
department.
Yes.
Eric, could you strap that thing to a Stryker cart of yours and get it over there?
Probably exceeds way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I mean-
Debbie says workman's comp.
Do we have lift gate on any of our trucks out of Public Works, Eric? Okay.
Eric says, I want no part of this discussion.
Huh?
I didn't hear anything.
Well, you got a lift gate, you back it up to their truck, where
Right.
they want to meet you at. You load it on it, and then you put it on your thing, and you drop it down. It's, for $1,000, it's just, I don't know. I'm not, we swallowed it last time, the white glove treatment.
Did we do the
It's
micro?
worth it for them
One
to do.
time
but-
we had it delivered to.
Yeah, because we had to wait for Greg and.
Yeah.
So they bring it and then they put it where it needs to be and,
It's on wheels.
They set
I
it
think when we
up.
fixed the last one, we wheeled it outside so that he could blow it out and do what he needed to without making a mess and
Did they-
interrupting staff, so I just.
do they remove the old one then?
No, I don't think, they won't take it. I think that, of course, they will take it for a fee, and I don't think she,
No, we have a really, really old one sitting in the back hallway that
Yeah,
is
it's
So I
just
mentioned to
trashed.
Greg that we need to get that one picked up and brought
Yeah.
over here to surplus too,
Yeah.
because we're not saving it for anything. We
No.
can't steal any parts
No.
off of it, so I guess when we get this
That one
replaced,
got
let's
bought.
get both of them. and-
Yes.
you'll sell it from there.
Somebody
That-
could make a smoker out of it or something.
That's fine. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's an idea.
And we could go ahead and sell
Yeah.
the other one too, because we're not
Yeah.
gonna plug it back in and just get it out of there, so they get it, we don't have to move it twice.
Yeah.
So if we did the regular delivery standard shipping, does it have to be delivered to a dock, or would they deliver to the health department? Do they have a lift gate on the truck that
No,
delivers it?
I don't think they have a lift gate. I think it has to be delivered to a dock, or if you had your, how are you all were talking about, I don't know.
We lift stuff. We use our backs.
I don't.
I'm
You
fine
should
with
use
getting a
your back, you should use
refrigerator.
your legs.
If y'all wanna do the white glove, then
I
do it. I'll go
I'd
on
just
the
feel a
white-
little more comfortable if the seller sees that it's plugged in, turned on, working, and then there's no question about we dropped it when we got it off of their truck to where we got it into the building. So when they walk away from it, it's at the right temp, it's working, everybody signed off on it. Don't want to waste $1,000, but I don't think it's wasted. I think it's insurance. So I'll vote to make a motion to do the Helmer for $4,500.
Yes, it is 458811.
$45,8811 for the Helmer. It's my motion.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Nay. I'm okay with the Helmer refrigerator, like I
Okay.
said.
And while we're here, I would like to bring up that, you know, we had several items on our list when the sheriff did the security assessment, and one of the things that we've talked about is a generator. And we tried to get a generator with that crisis COAG agreement, but things fell through between DHSS and CDC and it didn't get approved. Well, Sunday was another example of why we need a generator, because that power outage that affected Missouri Boulevard also affected the health department. So Tara and Jen had to go load up all the vaccines and take them to St. Mary's because our power was out. And then Monday morning, Brent had to come over and fix our internet and phones because we didn't have any. And then something else was with the security,
heat.
the heat wasn't running.
forgot about
our
until about
security
11.
cameras. So we really do need to figure out a way to get a generator. So Chris is working on that again. And I know that there was some discussion about, do we just get one that runs the refrigerator room and the server and like the doors? And I think that was like $125,000. Or do we try to get one to run the whole building, which is a lot more, but then it would run the whole building and we could continue to operate if there was a power outage during the day. And I think that something to do with the larger one is the fuel source. So I just wanted to kind of put that on your radar for like the ARPA funds or whatever, that we do need a generator. And even Brent was like, you guys don't have a generator here? Because like I said, we had no phones or internet yesterday morning. They had to go back to St. Mary's and get all the vaccines. And you know, you risk getting them out of temp when the refrigerators go out and you have to pack them all up, take them somewhere different. You know, it's important for us to get one.
Yeah, I think with ARPA money, this is probably a good time to do that. Have
Right.
Chris,
He's working,
Have Chris
that's what,
work that
yesterday
out.
morning, he's like, okay, that's back at the top of my list, because he had
Yeah.
been working on security cameras and other things, so generator, and I think he's gonna work with Greg, because, like I said, there was something with trying, and I told him to just get quotes for both of them, and then we could come and have the discussion with you guys, whether you wanted to do just those couple rooms, or if you wanted to do the whole facility. That sound like a good plan?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Just for memory purposes, have we been through a generator discussion on juvenile before?
The one from our old building went to juvenile.
Oh, that's the story. Okay. Wait a minute, your old one?
We had one at the old building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not at the
old-
current
no,
building.
no, no.
The old
The
one
old
at the
building.
old building went to juvenile.
Right.
Got it.
Did we hook up pigtails or anything at the new one?
I don't think we have anything there, but I don't know, I don't think so.
don't ask me.
Yeah, I know that the
Okay.
Community Health Center did not have a generator when we went there. I don't think they did anything.
Yeah, but I was thinking we had something hooked up at the.
I don't know
We
for sure.
definitely
That's a
need to
great
look at it.
question.
I'd get the prices on both, like you said.
That's what we thought. I told Chris to do, and then we
Make
would
sure
come
we're
and talk
sitting
about
down
it.
when we get them prices,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
they are costly.
I know.
Costs
But-
more than refrigerators.
Like I said, it's just those, I mean, even if we just did those 2 rooms, at least then it wouldn't mess with our server and,
Eric, do you have one? Generator? Okay.
so, put that back on your list.
yes.
I think you
And I
just
think
did.
the whole neighborhood by Health Department was probably hoping it came back on before the Super Bowl. It did. It came back on about 3:30, I think.
Yeah.
3:30 or 4.
Or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Signing of surplus titles for public works.
We have a few vehicles that we need to surplus. We're getting ready to put everything on Purple Wave. There's two 2003 International tandem dump trucks that were replaced with the two new ones that we got last year, and then a Chevrolet 1500 and Ford F-150. Both of those are pickups. So we just need to have these signed.
Yeah, Purple Wave was one of the sponsors for some of our meals at our training last week.
Last week, yes. The two internationals we think will bring anywhere from 15,000 to 25,000 in that range. It's a little unknown just with used vehicles and pricing nowadays, and then the two pickups probably 750, 1,000 or so. They're pretty worn out. But just need to have these signed.
You can do this all at one time, Debbie, or you need each one individually?
No, it's okay, do them all together.
Make a motion to sign the surplus titles as presented. I think there are four.
Four, yeah.
Okay, four of them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's all I have on our agenda. Do we have anything else that,
Don't think so.
okay.
Anyone? Make a motion, stand in recess until 3 o'clock.
3 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, hey, Sheriff, hush up. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It is February 15th, 2022, and we will dispense with all our things from this morning because we already did that. So I think hopefully today we're gonna maybe be able to come up with an application that we can put on our website. And I think that's probably about all we'll do today. Because we gotta start getting some applications in so we can start ranking them, so. Is BKD gonna be on today, or?
I did bring them on.
You did or didn't?
Teresa?
Oh.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
here.
Okay, she's here. Sorry you missed the last meeting, but
No problem.
I wanted to make sure you were on, so I'm not sure if we're leading or you're leading, so.
Well, Teresa, I think basically we feel more comfortable if we have some kind of an application on our website that entities can fill out to apply for funds. So we sent our committee the application we had used for our CARES money. And I think hopefully we're just going to modify it to work for ARPA. So I don't know if you have any, you just want to listen in, or?
Sure.
So everybody has received the copy of that, and do we want to just start with it? And oh, here, I don't. Oh. Yeah, this was our application that we had. I don't know if we just want to go from, we have the Cole County CARES Act application for reimbursement. So phase one, well, to a certain extent, we are going to have two phases because we've got half our money this year. But we've got application eligibility and compliance. So we were talking this morning, costs cannot be used if already covered by other funding. I don't know if that's really applicable to us because, you have some entities like Lincoln University who is asking for funds, and they've received ARPA money already. Our school districts received ARPA money already too. So I don't know if that would necessarily disqualify them if they have, like Lincoln is, they want to double the size of their school of nursing. They want to add, bring the police academy there and all that other. So I think that can still be considered because it's not, would be a new application. So that was I kind of crossed that out because I
guess, if I may, Sam, I guess one of the things that I was thinking about is coming to this meeting is, one, what kind of scoring system would we ultimately use? But as I thought about that scoring system, it might be applicable to what we want these applications to demonstrate. Do we want them to demonstrate, I think as Harry said the last meeting, long-term investment in the community, or 2 meetings ago. What, if you look back 20 years from now, what has it demonstrated that we've been able to do? Does the application demonstrate partnerships? And that's something that you talked about before, is there partnerships out there? Does it demonstrate the opportunity to leverage other resources? So does that mean you could leverage those previous resources from CARES Act or other ARPA money people that have so that they can commingle and make a bigger kind of thing that's out there? So I think and is it, something that demonstrates a critical need for the community? So I think if you think about it, in my mind, what does we want to demonstrate, or what do you as a commission want to demonstrate? Maybe those are things that can help influence what this application looks like.
Yeah, BKD on this CARES, they would actually score them. And I think, did we have some that we just kind of threw out, or?
We had 2 different kinds, and I'll let Teresa talk to it. During the CARES, we had the internal, and then we had the general public.
Yeah.
We had different phases of the general public, depending on if it was schools, or if it was small communities, or if it was non-for-profit places. But Teresa, you can even get into the background of how you guys did the application and why that every detail of this application either went to a scoring process or went to I'll let you go
So
ahead.
yeah, the scoring progress, it was more of a risk assessment score than anything. There was a little bit of assessment of need in there. Do you have that in front of you, the application? Okay. Sorry for all my crosses through there, but if you look like on page 5-ish, there's criteria at the bottom. And organizational capacity and all that stuff, that's where the scoring kind of starts coming into play. So if they had grant experience, they would get a higher score. If they knew how to segregate their expenses, if they'd had single audits in the past, things like that, it would score as a risk assessment more than these people need it more than somebody else or something like that. So if we thought they could handle the money in an appropriate manner was more of our scoring system.
I'm sorry, Teresa, I had emailed it. I can't really make a copy for everybody right now.
So it's kind of a scoring system.
No worries.
On compliance more than a demonstration need of kind of priorities that you all would set as kind of where you want them to be.
Yeah, and I think once the applications, as they come in, we can.
So I'll speak to that for a second. So in federal guidelines, when you have subrecipients, you have to do some kind of risk assessment to assess the risk of that subrecipient before you send them money. So this was our way to assess risk of entities before we sent them any money. So we were able to say, this is what they've got, they've done single audits. If they had issues in the past, they've dealt with them. We had them send us audits if they had them in the past and things like that. So it was more in that kind of bucket of we're complying with the federal requirements using this scoring. So if you're wanting a scoring that's more a needs-based scoring, then you might want to change it up a little bit for this time around.
And it's easier to get that information at the beginning when they're doing the application than to go back and ask them for that after they've submitted.
Absolutely.
And that's why, I think we need to come up with an application that they can, and I X'd out a bunch of this that was on PPE and things.
That one we only did internal, so that
Okay.
was a lot less than what we did
Okay.
external, because you need to make sure the vendors are, they have a federal ID number, they are not on any kind of watch list, and they do the the E-Verify if they're employees. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they put together behind that original application.
Yes?
I'm the newbie here. And so just tell me what I'm stepping into the middle of. But when I look at sending out this document, I think it has to do three things. You're telling people what you want them to submit. You're telling the public what you want, what you're interested in doing with it. And we use it then, we said, this is what we want, and then when we get applications, we say, this is what we want, and you gave us that or you didn't. And so I think it's really important, you know, to have, to tell the public what it is that we want. And I don't pretend to know what that is, but I tried to listen last week as to what everybody was saying, and none of this was talked about. None of this that's on this page was talked about. I think it could be as simple as it's one-time money, and we solicit one-time projects that'll benefit the citizens of Cole County into the future. And then if we have to say, you need to tell us how it's COVID related, I don't know the answer to that.
See, I think on some of that, we scratch it out, but it's like financial reimbursement request, provide a detailed description of your request, including the request amount, how the grant helps.
And then we need to,
But
and they need to tell us in their narrative why it's COVID related or not, and why we should fund that. Put it on them to tell us in their narrative, you know, what it is that.
Well, I think a lot of deal with this application process was just to have something we could compare apples to apples to.
yeah.
Having names and contact information and things of that nature, but we've been getting requests coming in. I've gotten a couple by word of mouth, and I think I haven't even passed them along. I just said, hang on, wait till we get an application out. I know y'all have gotten emails and stuff already, so just trying to get a process that's similar so that when we sit down and look at them, it's, you know, we've got something that's, at least we know who they are, what they want, how they're asking for it.
The application we used before and the application we use now, the only similarity might be that at the top of the page it says application.
Yeah, and you get the information and the name of applicant, entity type, organization address, mail address, website. So that, yeah, you keep, and you know, a lot of this, but, and it, you know, with what the state is giving out, it's not necessarily COVID. I mean, you know, they've got local tourism, industrial site development, of course, the water infrastructure, waste, yeah, there's wastewater, there's stormwater, there's lead service line inventories.
College facility buildings.
Yeah, community partnership development, revitalization.
I think we're gonna ask for a mix at the end of the day, and the items that you brought up initially, something that's got a long life. I've got this maybe philosophy on this, that we're not gonna burn all this money or spend it on things that are consumed within X years, a short period of time, because I think the people that are gonna have to pay for this, some of them haven't been born yet, and whenever they do come around and start paying for it, they ought to have some benefit from it. So I don't know if that means it's a bridge, it's a stormwater basin that's still working 50 years from now, or whatever, but it's, some of it's gotta have longevity. We can't use it for supplies, or we can't use it for one-time pay. Although a piece of it is premium pay, and we're doing that because the exposure is there right now, so the premium pay is there. But that's probably short-lived, the premium pay part of it. The leverage is good. I mean, Lincoln is asking us for some money because the governor has dangled a $20 million carrot in front of them and says, you can have this, but you've got to bring $20 million to the table and match it. So whatever contribution we make towards Lincoln, it sort of gets matched by the state, and that would be a good payback. And it's a good project to start with. It's, it's a health science building where their nursing program would step it up. There'd be payback, a long payback. The economic payback would be a feature here. So some of the things might be new to us, but if the sellers of the items can convince us that there's a payback in revenue and tax resources and jobs, whatever, that's a feature. And I guess getting back to the critical need now, this is something that's going to fall through the cracks now if we don't fund it. I'm not sure what that would be, but if somebody came to us because they had a catastrophic issue that was partially necessitated by COVID, we would consider that, even though it may not be long-lived. All of those things play in here. But we do want to be sure that one of the items mentioned earlier was the ability of the applicant or the user to document what they're doing with it. They're responsible. They can always be called, what'd you do with it? And when we get audited in 5 years, the documentation is going to be there, and we're not going to be asked to pay it back because the subrecipient did what they said they were going to do. And we knew from the beginning that they had the qualifications to use it the way they said they were. They just weren't somebody who flew in overnight from out of state and said, hey, we just landed here, but we want some of your money. Well, we probably wouldn't do that because our due diligence wouldn't let us do that. So I'm rambling here, but all of those features will play into how I look at something. Actually, I talked with the sheriff today because he's looking for radios and a lot of money for radios. And I said, how long do radios last? Because we don't want all the radios to be gone when somebody else after us pays for this stuff. He told me 17 years, but then he kind of fudged on that later.
But they have a built-in obsolescence too. You can't.
Where I was going with that is if we threw $2 million on the table and said, go get your radios, and they last 10 years, in 10 years, they're going to come back and say, well, we're back for radios. And well, that was a one-time thing. We're not doing radios every 10 years because they have a 10-year life, and every 10 years, we're going to give you $2 million to do it. We can't do that. So that plays into it as well.
Harry, that was helpful because as I was listening, I heard you say three really important things here that seem to be thematic things. One, that whatever we're doing here, and maybe the application does that or through the scoring system, I don't know which, but one, it demonstrates a critical identified need in the community. And I think that was pretty clear. The second one, that it demonstrates long-term investment in the community. Obviously, maybe some of the monies need to be used for current expended stuff, but the bulk needs to be long-term investment. And the third thing I think I heard you say is that it demonstrates an impact that extends beyond the local unit. That is, you want partnerships.
Yeah, some match or somebody else put skin in the game as well.
And I think those are really three interesting things you laid out that helps me understand kind of directionally where we think we go. And I know, Sam, and comments you made, you've echoed similar themes as well.
Yeah, well, like Jeff has been talking about the soccer. Here the state has local tourism development of $50 million. It's funding for communities to develop local community tourism assets such as local tourism sites and wayfinding signs, things like that. But what we learned when we were in training last week is if we partner and we get money from the state, when the federal government comes back to audit these, they audit the state. The state is the entity. They say, well, no, this doesn't really qualify, and but we're kind of safe. So there's a lot of money here. Is that right, Teresa? That's what we were told.
Can you say that again? It would be on the state?
Yeah, well, the ARPA resources for Missouri local governments, we had training last week, and so we had the governor talking about everything, and then we had somebody from his office that's overseeing. If we say on water infrastructure, there's 150 million for stormwater infrastructure. Say we get 2.5 million from the state and we match it with our 2.5 million, and they audit it. They audit it, the state. They don't audit us.
It's a joint project. It's a
But
joint
the state's
project.
gonna make you sign documentation that you're responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a joint.
because you guys
they'll
get
audit
your
the
money
project.
directly from the treasury, you would have a little bit more, I wanna say liability this time around, because, you know, with CARES money, it went from the state then to you guys, but now you're getting your money directly from the treasury. So I would think there would be a little bit, but I would trust them a little bit more on that if you did some kind of project to where it's kind of a joint project with the state, that you're kind of trusting them to do their due diligence as far as allowability or something like that. So I could see it being that way, but yeah, you've got a little bit more liability this time around with being coming directly from the treasury.
As part of your training last week, when you were talking about that liability issue, you guys were just kind of exploring, is there a potential clawback from the feds, from the state, that ultimately could come down to the county level?
Say that again.
So if, say that they ultimately determined that a fundable activity was not appropriate, and not permissible, could they invoke a clawback where they can come and try to hold the county responsible for those funds? Or once we made our determination, we're relying on the state for the due diligence and we're safe? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's kind of what I understood from the state. Did
Once
you?
the project's selected
Well,
by the state.
we might be mixing a couple of different things here. Let's, if we just forget we talked or heard from the state last week, and we just had our 15 million, okay, we'll spend our 15 million, we'll be diligent with it. Any recipient that we send it to, we'll make them jump through the hoops. Then we learned last week, well, the state's got other money, and we maybe could match that. I don't know the mechanics of we matching them or they matching us. Somebody would take the lead on that, probably the state, and we'd almost be like a co-partner, or somebody's going to have, you can't have two heads running that thing, but they're going to be doing this countless times with countless other political subdivisions, I suspect. So that I would think that they're going to have a built-in hierarchy on how to account for the money, how to be ready when the feds show up, and if they show up 5 years from now and say, how did you spend it, document it. I wouldn't think that, I mean, if we feed everything to the state and they feed everything to the feds, that's probably how it would work, but who knows?
And this community partnership, this might actually, development and revitalization might actually be better for Salvation
Well,
Army.
for instance, if we say yes to Lincoln for some amount of money and it goes over there, although we talked about this morning internally, we would say you're building this health science building and here's the county's contribution towards that. We might say to them, our money has to go for health science because the building is also going to have a few other things in it. It might have their TV and radio or whatever, so we don't want our money
It'll
going
have
there.
the police academy.
It may have police academy, and we're saying, no, we're health. We're putting it under our health column. We're going to be relying upon Lincoln and Missouri, the state of, because they're pumping 20 into this thing, 20 million, and we're pumping X, and other entities are pumping that money in. We can't, we can't go over there and kick the bricks and check it out. We're going to have to rely upon documentation that is being put together by the state, because the state's going to make them prove the 20 million that they put in is going to the right bucket. Yes, Alan?
But you're going to have a local partner running the project. The state and the county are just putting money in as a pool.
Yeah,
and it's still going to have to be administered locally.
They're asking the city for money. Okay, so we can't be over there one day checking it out, and the city the next day saying, where's our money going? Somebody's got to, stand at the top of the pyramid and say, I'm controlling this. And I don't think it's us, and I don't think it's the city. I don't think it's some of the big contributors. Now, some of the contributors are going to be doing it because there's a tax benefit, there's going to be some tax credits. So some entities that give them 100,000 are going to get 50,000 in state tax credits later. So there's other folks that are involved, and they can't be over there kicking the bricks either. Got to be one entity at the top. You were just going to say something else.
You know, it seems like we're getting in the weeds pretty deep, to me at least, and I'd like to see us have an application which is pretty straightforward in terms of what the needs are. You mentioned the radios for public safety, and I've been on other boards that have had a need to replace vehicles and do things. I would hope public safety in the future would have replacement and upgrade in their budget. I think if we have an application which is straightforward and kind of easy, because some of the people that are applying are from communities outside of here that don't have the sophisticated staff that we have here. And you know, I think if we can get the list of applicants, 15 million sounds like a lot until you start looking at the request, and when you look at the request, it seems like the mud budget. You know, things go pretty fast. You know, I think if we can get an application which everybody can fill out and state their case, then with our sophisticated recommendations from the committee, the three commissioners can come up with a list of people, and then we may need more information from them on those in order to decide how the 15 million is going to be. But I think personally, I'd like to see us have an application which is not so difficult that it makes it difficult for some to apply.
Teresa, have you come up with applications already through other entities for the ARPA?
I'd have to look around. I haven't done it on any of my other ones yet. A lot of them are just using the 10 million expedient and then the rest for premium pay. So, but I can definitely ask around too. I would be a little cautious about that, because if you do get, you know, a lot of applications, say you get, you know, $50 million worth of applications, what's the process going to be for picking? So I see if you have some limits that you want to put on those before requesting applications. I know you're probably just trying to get an idea of what's out there, but I can have some fun things with the papers and stuff when it gets out there that you're, you know, rejecting applications and things like that. So
Sam?
Yes.
Just caution.
Maybe, I mean, you talked about you'd X'd out some things and kind of updated.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it would be helpful for this committee if that new document was put together, not with the X's in it, but, you know, everything taken out in kind of a fresh application we could look at.
Yeah.
And then see what meets your test of the simplicity. Maybe rerun it with the committee after this on email, and people can get back some thoughts or comments on that and see if we can coalesce around something. But I think getting a simplified thing, as you suggested, and it sounds like you've kind of thoroughly thought through the transition from the CARES Act to the ARPA, that might be a good way to
Yeah,
start.
I did, well, I mean, this we're gonna need anyway, the name of applicant organization, their address, that, their representative, designated, and they had, have you requested or been granted other CARE FEMA-related public assistance? I scratched that out and just put ARPA. Have you received any other funding not noted above? They're saying COVID-19 impacts, but this may include funds from SBA, HUD, other federal or state grants, loans, donations, If you answered yes to either of the two questions, please describe the funding. That's not going to disqualify them if they've received other funding.
I think what you're looking for, though, is it a new project?
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
applying for
and
the
that's,
same thing over.
and that's what here, it's financial request. Provide a detailed description of your request, including, I don't know if we need the request amount, how the grant helps you, an expected number of individuals impacted by the grant. Again, I don't know, but I mean, somewhere you need to have them say what they want, what the money is going to go for. And this wouldn't be enough space to, so I think they'll probably do a bunch of attachments.
So I guess I do have a question. Do we need an application that's internal, like the sheriff's applying, for instance, versus an external group applying? We might have to check to see that they can actually process a federal payment and project and do it legally. I'm wondering if it's two different pieces.
It's got to be two different pieces, I think, because we've already said we're going to do a premium pay.
Right.
And we've moved $1.5 million over to this bucket. It's costing us $57,000 per 2-week pay period to fund premium pay. This morning, we agreed that we're going to do that for at least the next 3 pay periods, the next 6 weeks, which is March 31st. Then we're going to look and see, is everything green? All the lights at the school are green, no one's wearing a mask. In our family of employees, we don't have people asking for time off for COVID. I mean, that's a dream, maybe. But at some point between now and the end of the year, I hope we get there. If not,
you have to be realistic, absolutely.
well, at 26 pay periods times 57,000 is $1.5 million. So we're funded for the year, you might say, but I don't know if we have to go that far.
No, I'm hoping, praying that
But we didn't ask Debbie in payroll if these other questions were. I mean, we did it ourselves, so we'll do some of that internal stuff. Maybe when the ambulance, the new location, the midtown location, if that's what we want to call, the contract comes in at $2.8 million. The grant comes in at $2 million. Maybe we got $800,000, and we won't make Eric apply for that $800,000 and jump through the hoops because we know where it's going.
then that would
Some
be
of
part
that's
of our
gonna-
internal,
That's
so.
some of our internal stuff.
See, I'm thinking, and we talked about this morning too. We got half the money, so if we take 5,000 of what we got, that still gives us $2.5 million roughly that we can give, to.
You say 5,000?
Huh?
You said we'd take 5,000 of what we got.
5 million.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 million. Then that leaves us at $2.5 million that these applicants would, so I'm thinking that's a different bucket from our internal, although, it's.
We submitted a pretty detailed letter on what we would like to start with. And truthfully, and I'll bring this up again.
You're gonna need to come up to the microphone, John. They can't hear you back there. I think we got some of the people that are.
So we've already submitted a pretty detailed email that has all of the items that we'd like to purchase. 2 of those items, the CAD systems, that's a 10-month process. And they're not going to start till we pay them. So I understand what you're saying, but that you're wanting an application. But I would ask that we go ahead and move forward with that $2.5 million. So we got to order a lot of radios. That's going to take 3 or 4 months probably to get in. We got to program them. So I would like to move. I know it's all about me, I guess, but we would like to move forward with this because it's not only EMS and the Sheriff's Department, it's also the fire protection districts too that are getting usage. And I think Health Department and I don't remember who else all's in that, but there's several different entities involved in this. So just that's my question is, I know you guys are wanting to move cautiously, I get that. The other thing I was going to bring up, on the contracts that you're having everybody, the applications, wasn't on the back of that, didn't we have to sign a deal saying that if the audit came back and said that the money wasn't, it wasn't applicable, they had to pay the money, the entity had to pay the money back?
And those sub-recipient agreements, all of that.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. That's right. But that's, I think that's something that each one of these contracts, when they sign them, they need to understand that. Because I know I do, that if they end up taking these products, and for some reason, in 5 years, when the kid that's still in high school right now comes and does the audit right now for this, all this stuff, they're not going to understand all this. And they need to understand, the subrecipients need to understand that they may have to pay that money back. But anyway, back to all about Eric and I. We would like you to move forward on that $2.5 million, because we need to move faster, unfortunately, with the conditions. And it has to do with our contracts that we currently have in place, because if we wait too much longer, then we're going to have to re-up those again, and so there's a lot in there. So, thank you.
Could I ask a question, follow-up question on that? So, if you get the money for the project you're wanting, is it feasible to believe that your departments could include in your budgets upgrades in subsequent years? Is that?
Oh, absolutely. And see, the other thing to remember is, and what we put in that email, just like with me every year, just like with him, I only try to buy 2 of those radios a year because I can't afford them. And so we try to do that over a 5-year or 10-year period. So over that 10-year period, I'll be able to replace most of my radios that are already 15 years old. By doing this, it jumps us ahead of that. So now I can use that money for the upgrades and the upkeep of those instead of trying to get from 10 years from now. So this is jumping us forward with law enforcement, EMS, and fire protection. It's jumping us forward 10 years of what we could have been doing.
So,
the fire protection district.
did you send that the request you made, did we send that to all of our?
No.
It's been talked about.
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
Okay, because I think they're not going to be able to act.
Because Eric Langworth sent one as well.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to
Another $2
act
million.
without, I wouldn't expect you to act without knowing.
I mean, you got to look at the
You don't
details.
just say,
That's
oh
all.
yeah, Sheriff, we'll give it to you.
And I'll just jump in here. I know the spreadsheet's on the TV up here, and I'll also give you guys a copy of it. The way the ARPA money is set up, the first $10 million has to be used, because they voted on that, for governmental services. So basically, I outlined what we consider governmental services, and those are by the functions, like on the top level, administration, general government, public safety, health and welfare, judicial, down the line. These are all internal departments here, and again, it can be up to 10 million. It doesn't have to be. That's the commission decision. These internal ones, do you want these internal ones to go to this outside committee to help? Or are you wanting just the outside public one to go to this committee for help? Because I'm just asking, because this first 10 million needs to be, you don't have to use it all. You can move some of it over to the others if you like. If you want them involved in all the internal stuff here, or just the external with the public. Because that could be the other 5 million that's left, and that other 5 million, it breaks it into 3 categories for you. Public health, economic, and water, sewer, and broadband. It's basically the 3 columns, except for premium pay can be in that too. So those 3 areas, I could see you getting applications from the public for, maybe giving them a little bit more detail what you expect from them before we just put an application out there. I mean,
I think we can report to them what we're using our 10 million for.
We have to.
And I mean, we can say, okay, here's one of the things we're going to use it for, the radios. And, the other monies in the second pot would be what we would use for public applications.
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense, for me to try and figure it out. I mean, if you all said, okay, we're gonna deal with the county things first, And we don't need an application, we just say, okay, the county, and frankly, the way I look at it, the money was sent to the county, and so the county probably ought to be first in line, you know, to utilize it.
Well, I think like the stormwater that Public Works is requesting, I mean, that's, it's not glamorous, it's not, but, you know, we have so much flooding.
The stormwater's probably a good project, but again, the state has got a pot of money, and until they get their budget done, you don't know whether it's available or not available.
And I sent that to Eric, Landwehr too, and said, hey, you know, instead of your request for the $2.5 million for stormwater, if we can apply with the state and they pay $1,250,000, we pay $1,250,000, it's actually, it gives us more money to do other things with. But Eric said that could take so much time, but
The only challenge I see, and I think I've talked to all three of you about this, is, you know, yes, it was given to the county, but the thing is, I understand you're the elected representatives, but the problem is you have a nice sounding board here. There's a committee that if we have reviewed or talked about some of those, you can say we did have a committee that helped us in some of those decisions and stuff, because guess what? For some people, we're gonna make really happy, and some people we're gonna make really unhappy. A lot more. And the challenge for you is, as being an elected official, the ones that are really unhappy are gonna express that. And I'm not saying that just by you saying you had a committee that they're gonna go away, but I think it becomes a sounding board, because the thing is the county is made up of its people. So that would be the only thing. I think we could be actually a resource there to you, instead of a detriment.
oh, yeah.
I think when it comes right down to it, you know you're gonna take a certain amount of heat. We know we're gonna take a certain amount of heat. That's been true of every board that I've ever been on, sure, including the school board, but it's a story. But, you know, I think if we use common sense and due diligence to use the money in the best possible way to help the public, knowing that we're gonna take criticism, you're gonna take criticism, but you have a basis on which the decisions are made. So, you know, I think we've elected good commissioners that can take the heat, and we've all had some experience with that too.
Well, I would like to get an application out there so that, you know, entities can at least apply. I think it's important, you know, we can meet all we want and talk about what we're gonna do with this money, but we need the request of what, you know, what these different entities want, and I'm sure everybody can use it, so we're gonna have to decide who's gonna get it and who's not gonna get it, or if we wanna, again, I think now that we've got the state's money, we don't know for sure we're gonna have that, but again, some of the projects here in Jefferson City, I would like to work with Jefferson City where we can maybe do a 50-50, so that our money goes a little bit farther. And
that's one, Sam, I was wondering too, is there any way in that application process we can say, are they using some matchy funds to this? Because of course, everybody wants us to cover 100% of that. We know there's not enough money for all the requests that are gonna come in. So is there a way, you know, like if, whatever it is, XYZ wants to do what they wanna do, is there somewhere the matching that they can get there, you know, because that makes our money go farther in this process versus someone says, you know, I got a $250,000 project, we need $250,000 to do it. Well, the problem is then it's, you know, if we give them $125,000, it makes the project reality, then that works a lot, makes our money just go so much farther.
Well, and that's what the governor is doing with with Lincoln University and with MU and with Moberly.
Making them put skin in the game is
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
what it
and
is.
so, again, the state money is going to go farther. It's just that,
Maybe we need to do this with our project.
Well, I think we should ask somewhere on the form is what is the total cost of your project and how much is your ask of us?
Yeah, if you get a complete budget and then financial support from other sources.
Yeah.
And then what's their ask, I think is a fair.
Right, and that,
fair question.
it's some way of getting the match, and you might say where the match is embedded in that question.
And I think that it meets that criteria you were talking about earlier, that you were laying out, that it demonstrates there's true partnerships out there.
Right. The governor gets to make stronger statements, because he's got guys walking around with him that are packing, right? The sheriff only shows up here once a week, so, for us. No, I'm just being facetious, but, yeah, I think, Gary, it's a good question, is what is the cost of your project? How much of the financing are you asking us to do?
and see, here on
That
financial.
could be a weighted thing for us, that we favor that a little bit more than
Well, that's
you're
what.
looking for a 100% handout.
Right.
And Sam, I don't know if it's on that application, but I'm wondering, kind of in that same vein, if there's an opportunity to ask what kind of community support does the project have? I mean, if it's a standalone thing out there, that is a good project, that's fine, but it would also, in addition to financial support, is there a larger community support behind it? Then it gets back to the issues you were raising.
Yeah.
Yeah, on here it's financial reimbursement request, and it's provide a detailed description of your request, including A, the request amount, B, how the grant helps during the COVID emergency, which we don't know, we need to change that, and the expected number of individuals impacted by the grant. And we could add something in there, you know.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to put a question, or would you be? Okay.
I think I got it. Is that it?
Yeah, and then that's what the amount of radios and stuff is on it.
Okay.
Sorry.
But we're not to this point, are we?
No. No, we're,
We are.
I would not expect them today to,
No, but this will make it a better educated decision.
yeah.
But, I mean, then I think we need to let everybody come in and start lobbying for their stuff right away. So,
Well, this is internal.
I don't care if internal, external, be tornal. You know.
Well, I think the first challenge is to get the word out through the media so that everybody knows, everybody has a chance to apply. If they don't get it, at least they won't be able to say, we didn't know about it, we didn't have a chance to apply.
Well, that's why we need to have an application, and we need for Jeff to put in that they can go on to our website and download the application and submit it by a certain time, or so.
So are we any closer to having an application?
Well, that's what I thought we were gonna do today, but, you know, we can,
Teresa, are you willing to help us with the application and way of narrowing it down a little bit too? Yes.
Are you wanting to set it up like we had with CARES?
similar to that.
Obviously, the same wording, but like the same kind of, they go onto your website, fill it out.
Mhm.
We've got the information in a common place and can get it all together
Yeah,
that way.
and-
Is that what you're thinking, Debbie?
I'm thinking, yeah, and then they could submit more documentation, you know, because this is gonna be,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
but,
but they'll have the ability to add attachments to it.
yeah. But we need to get this on our website as soon as we can.
Is there gonna be any restrictions or anything, or is this just wide open to anybody and?
In the county, right?
Well, we're not going to accept applications from Carter County. So I guess we have to have a local it has to be local.
Has to be a local project.
And then we still have the time, the money has to be spent by,
24.
yeah, so, I mean, we need to make it clear, I guess. But yeah,
It's encumbered by 24 and spent by 26.
by 26, yeah. So,
But then you need a date too as to when applications must be in by.
And I think last time we kind of went backwards with that, and we came up with that date, which was soft, but it was pretty much getting us moving to where we are here today. So
yeah.
I think we'd said, Gary, April 1, does that sound right? 'Cause I know I was pushing March 1, and you,
I think we was looking at March 1, and then we was talking about
Yeah,
90 days.
yeah, so-
Yeah, so we might have to go to like May 1st, I mean, yeah, we do need to kind of give them,
And the state money, you may not know until May 15th.
Right.
Whether it's even available.
yeah.
But we thought
way
they'd
things
have
are
it
going in the
90
Senate.
days, so it would get past the state money. Because applications, if we do April 1 or whatever, if you do 90 days after that, it's going to be in June, so we'll know where it stays at.
Yep.
Tracy, I'm sure
And
the
that may be
stipulations of
something.
whether it's public health, economic, or, what kind of topic we're talking about. As far as dollar amount, I don't think we're ready to throw a dollar amount limit on that yet. And as far as small business or a private individual, I guess it's just open for anybody that's within the county area.
But I think it would be
If you're
good
gonna do like the individual assistance and things like that to people, those have some specific rules for them that we would have to.
I don't really,
So in other words, if it was just an individual applying, that could be way different than a company or a non-for-profit or.
Absolutely.
So the definition of a qualified applicant would be anybody who's a resident of the county or entity that's domiciled within the county. For-profit, not, it doesn't matter on the tax status, right? Is what you're saying?
No.
Other than she was saying, if it's an individual person, then it would.
Matter.
and see, we had business.
Because you have to look at their income level. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't just say, hey, they need this money and give it to them if they apply. You have to kind of look at what their income level is. You have to ask for a lot of information as far as that goes. It'd be a separate application, basically, I would say, if you went that direction.
And that's part of that due diligence you said you guys did your scoring on in terms of making a determination whether, not necessarily on the merits of they demonstrated certain priorities that the commission has laid out, but rather are they have the capacity to produce the project that they say they are doing.
that's where they do.
Yeah, sure, that would be part of our, but the whole, like, if you're just trying to get, applications to see what's out there, like who's needing money, who are you getting the most applications from, what projects look like, I would be very hesitant to just have individual people saying, hey, I need money, because there's a lot, like, you have to go low moderate household, are they experiencing unemployment, are they, there's a whole listing of things. It would be an entirely separate application process for their individuals to apply for funds, to be in compliance
That's
with
gotta be an,
the ARPA.
if the if Cole County Health asks for it to do something like that, that's one thing. But to do each individual.
I would hesitate to go accept individual requests for individual dollars. There's too many other programs out there that have the the rules already written in terms of and how you qualify, and there's folks at the state that are looking. There's folks that can't make a mortgage payment now, and if somebody came to us and said, "Can you make my mortgage payment for the next 3 months?" I think I'd say I think there's a state program for that, and I think that's where you belong. And I don't think you belong at this table. We wouldn't have the ability to check these folks out. If did they just hit the lottery and they're not spending the lottery money? That's far-fetched, but
Well, and the county just becomes a social service program right there.
right.
Which
And
is not
see,
a bad
once it's
thing,
spent,
but-
once it's
but
spent,
that's not
it's
what you
gone.
are.
Yeah.
So.
Teresa, if we say healthcare providers, nonprofit businesses,
Right.
does that encumber anybody that everybody would want to see an application from?
Yeah, I mean, the small businesses and the not-for-profit have some different rules. We could probably build it in to the application if you wanted. I mean, I guess it just depends on this first round. Are you wanting all the information that we absolutely need this first round with the applications, or are we gonna wait until you have approved these people and then start getting the information? I just don't want to put an undue burden on people if they want to apply for these funds and show you what's out there to be, what needs are out in your community. I don't want them to be hesitant to, say what things are going on if they've got to give you additional information, that they would be hesitant to apply.
Teresa, when I wasn't here for the CARES, or maybe just caught the end of that when I started serving,
Yeah.
but somewhere along the way, there were these built-in limits on small business and NFPs, not-for-profits. Was that right? It was a self-imposed limit. When it was like $5,000
Yeah,
for
I think
small
on
business
business,
and
yeah.
$25,000 for not-for-profits. Do I remember that?
Oh, the limit, sorry. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you, Commissioner Otto.
Okay.
Yeah, we had the 5,000 on the businesses. I think we have the 25 on the not-for-profits. And then we had it pretty much open, I think, for city, school, and healthcare. I think that was kind of just up to the commissioners at that time.
Okay.
But I don't know if you need to put limits on it. Like I said, if you're wanting to go this application route and these people will be awarded money based on these applications, then we'll probably need to include a lot of information in the application to get everything we need for that. But if you're more trying to gather information, it probably doesn't need to be as robust. And we could have those people, assuming that you want to give them the money, I'm hoping they would be inclined to give you the information you needed at that point too, so.
I think you could go with getting the information, enough that we can make a determination, and then I think we just have on the agreement that says that more additional information will have to be, if you are awarded, to show that it's being used right in the funds or whatever, having some sort of disclaimer that says they know they'll have to give more, or if it's a project that we like, but we don't have enough information, that they're willing to come up with it. If they're not willing to come up with it, then they don't want the money too bad. Because the one thing we want to watch is that they don't just give us this rounded-about number.
Yeah.
That's my greatest worry is somebody says, oh, they want to do X, and we think it's going to cost like we want to have some documentation of what are you truly, gauging it on versus a wish and a whim. And, in construction right now, if it's construction, that's going to be tough because it could go up or down. But the thing is still, there's going to be a set amount of money. So if they say it's $1 million and the project in a year and a half when they get started is $1.2 million, they're going to find where the other 200,000 comes from, not us.
Yeah.
Because ours is going to be spent. I think a basic and then just with a disclaimer that says, be prepared and more documentation may need it to make sure you qualify as the award, and we're doing the award process, I think. Because otherwise you make it too tough, my worry is then some people won't apply. It could be a good thing too. It's kind of, what's the problem?
Are you guys okay with those three topics, the healthcare, the nonprofit, any businesses within the residents of the county?
As qualified applicants.
Yeah.
Healthcare what?
Yes, as the applicants. It's either healthcare providers or healthcare field, I don't know, because there's other things.
What were the other ones?
Nonprofit and just businesses that are located within the county lines. At least that gives.
Are religious and civic groups, are they eligible for this as well?
They would be nonprofit.
Nonprofit, really?
Well, what about, because you got the water districts asking, are you going to have a other spot for them so they can apply? Or are you going to tell them
No, that-
Well, you've got water and sewer infrastructure
Well, it just says
projects.
healthcare, nonprofit, and businesses.
Well,
So you gonna
no.
count them as a business?
No, we can have political subdivisions asking.
Okay, so I'm asking, are we gonna do?
Yeah,
I wasn't saying that, I'm just asking, what about those?
good
So-
question, and I think the answer is we accept applications from political subdivisions. Schools, ambulance, well, not ambulance, we got these
Fire
guys.
districts.
Fire districts, villages, towns. I know they're getting some of their own, but there's one out west that has its own water system, and they need a few bucks to finish their electronic meters.
I'm trying to remember who all else has talked to us already that they fit in all those.
I think if we say political subdivision, that catches schools and, I mean, that catches about anything that can impose a tax.
There probably isn't a bad question to ask on there as far as if they've already received ARPA funding, because we can't tell from some of these smaller cities and places that they've even applied yet or could apply, just so we have an idea of what they've already received from this particular round of money. You know, not the CARES, not anything else, but.
Well, and it might be that, say, like Salvation Army, I keep using them, but I think, what were they asking, 7.5 million?
I thought it was
Are there?
3.5, I thought.
Well, I know, I mean, but their project, yeah, and so they're, say we allocate some money to that, this is how much we give. I could see that should be something with Jefferson City, because it's more city than the county.
Teresa, could we, with those topics that we can go back over, could you have a draft copy of an application within 2 or 3 weeks for us to then distribute to the committee for their review too? And then ultimately approval by the commission put on the website?
I think 2 weeks would be better, because I really don't want to, we need to start getting some applications in. I don't want to rush it, but I think now that the feds have come out with what we can use the money for, and the state.
Just keep in mind, you will get a lot, and you could get one person applying for all of it, you know, so.
When's your next commission meeting that you could be in a position to approve this application?
Well, every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
You meet every Tuesday?
Yeah.
So what if you said that you want a final approval by March 1? That gives us 2 weeks. So they produce something, now Monday's a holiday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they produce something either distributed on Friday or next Tuesday or on the holiday, whatever. We opine on it, give you feedback, and then you guys can act by 2 weeks from today.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to just keep moving ahead, so I don't want to wait 3 weeks. Or I'd like a week and a half would even be better, but.
Do you have any other questions, Teresa?
So I guess my question for you guys, again, are you wanting very specific application here? I mean, are we wanting a general application?
This was rather general.
Sam is referring to.
On phase 1. Yeah.
What's he referring to?
The one
Sorry.
we listed internal, it's not really the one that we had on the website.
But
So-
we didn't, it's organization information, name of applicant, organization. Was that,
It wasn't the one that was on the website. That was the initial one. That
oh,
wasn't-
okay.
But the other one, that was 5 or 6 pages or whatever.
Because are we wanting to do a, risk-based assessment on them as well? Are we wanting anything like that? Are you just wanting people to apply to get it rolling?
Get them to apply.
Because the good and bad thing about CARES was it was pretty specific that it had to be used for, COVID-19 related things. This is a little bit more open in what can be applied for, so.
And our time span here is a lot longer than what we had for the CARES money to be used, so I think a more general first, and then we get, knowing that they're going to have to get more specific if we get to that point.
Yeah, so we might ask for more information, and some we might just say, no, this really isn't a good use of the money.
You willing to say that?
Huh?
And
Well, I think we'll
and I
get,
like the idea of them telling us what their total project cost is and then how much they're requesting.
Well, but, and we can say, you know, we can give you 25% or 50% of this.
And
Cause,
I'm
you know,
thinking of the Lincoln project, they're gonna have a number of entities involved in helping fund that, so, to me, that makes it look like a stronger project if you got a lot of folks involved.
And I think if you say, we're gonna give you 25%, or we're gonna give you 50%, is that going to enable you to move forward with that project? You know, I think you need to know that.
yeah, cause we might not grant 100% of, we might not be able to grant 100% of their request.
But if, you need to know if they get 25% from this, whether that's going to enable them
Yeah,
to move
to
that
move ahead.
project forward.
Right.
Because that may help really shake out some that's got these big pipe dreams that, oh, we're gonna get all this from the county, but we have nothing to come to the table with. Because that's my whole concern. I had a conversation with someone that come up to me and, you know, we need this, this, and this, and I said, well, do you all have any in your budget to match that or do that? Well, from what we understood, that money's available. And I said, well, it's available, but the only problem is there are gonna be more people asking than what's available. And, you know, we wanna see projects, you know, it'd be a lot better to do 20 projects and we funded those to make them go than do 10 projects, and, because they have to have all the money to make it happen. So.
I have two questions, if I can.
Yes, ma'am.
Where'd this come from? Help me with the rankings. I feel like I forgot.
I came from BKD.
Got it, okay. Okay, perfect. And then what are we gonna do, and I don't wanna put anybody on the spot, but are we gonna bring this up at the next meeting, or what? I don't want us to lose sight of.
That's an internal
Got it.
application, so, yeah, look it over. And I don't know, you know, we'd like your blessing, but, again, that might be something that the commission just decides to go ahead and take it from our internal,
Public Works.
money so we can get those on order. 'Cause anything now, when you order it, it can take a year. It can take a year and a half. So, what's our ambulances gonna be now?
We'll be lucky if we receive one this calendar year.
What's your email? I'll forward it to you.
Well, I live in the county, and I want you to have really good radio. So just know, I have a personal interest, well, we all do, so.
Okay. So we're gonna, Teresa's gonna come up with an application that we will,
.org.
that we will look over and then get it out to you. And if you see anything that you think needs to be changed, you can get back to us. And then our next meeting, I would say we probably ought to, get our application approved, do tweaking if it needs to be tweaked, and then get it on our website.
So do we need to meet until after you guys have looked at it on March 1st timeline?
That's up to you guys. That's it. So after we, email.
We can do it all via email.
Yeah,
we
we'll
can
send
comment
it.
by email and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll send it to you.
I've scratched out things that I don't think belong on an application and added things I think do belong. And I'd ask you to maybe,
Yeah, can you send me what you
yeah,
got?
I want you
thinking-wise?
to, want you to capture those kind of things and just package them up to for Teresa, just for comments.
Okay, well, I will send it to you, Teresa.
Thank you.
If more comments or asking.
So when do you want it from me? I know before your March 1st meeting, but do you want?
We want it, let's see, we got Monday's a holiday, we want next Tuesday.
No.
I'll try.
Just,
It's a little busy around here, so
Yeah.
we'll see what I can do.
I'll send you this one.
So you're wanting to have an application form by March 1st with the applications back in by,
90 days at least,
yeah, I think,
at least. I mean, I think that's up to us
April,
to
May,
make a
June,
decision,
that's, so
but
that would
in
be.
fairness to, I'm more worried about the smaller groups because it's gonna take
Gives them
them
plenty of
longer. Yeah, so I.
I think
I mean,
that's
this
fair.
isn't as
Depends
extreme
on
of an
what you get that
application
first
as you
time.
normally would get, so it should
True.
take some amount longer.
No.
90 days is fine.
I mean, if that works for these guys, but it keeps the ball rolling.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So when do we
So-
want to meet again with this group?
After that, or?
We could meet the afternoon of March 1st if you want.
Same time, 3 o'clock.
Mhm. Yeah, that's, and if you get a copy of the application, you can kind of, Roger, you're the chairman, is that okay?
Yeah, I can't be here, but that's, keep
Oh.
right on going. No, keep right on going.
No, we can.
No,
we can-
I'm
Will you
out
be
for-
back Wednesday?
I'm out for 10 days, so keep going. So,
The 8th, you wouldn't be here either?
no, I don't get back until the 9th.
But all we're gonna do is approve the application. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
We'll
lot of
send
meetings
comments
can be
in on the
taken care of
application.
with an email, so if we
Yeah.
don't even have to have a meeting, we won't have to have a meeting.
Okay,
If
that's
everybody's
fine.
good with it in the email, then.
Yeah, well, then we can
let's
do
not
that
interrupt
too,
everybody's
so-
day. So,
Once we get the application, start getting some applications back, then we need to meet.
You know, once the applications start coming in, then I think the next meeting ought to focus on kind of the scoring criteria and how we're going to look at that.
And look at their request, because we might need to push that.
Okay, Teresa, I think I'll let you go, and then I'll send you that.
Okay.
So
that
we're having a meeting
Thank you.
first.
Thanks, Teresa.
That's what I'm hearing is we won't meet March 1st.
Probably not, but
No.
you might put it on your calendar just in case. But you should have something to look at before then.
that's me. You don't understand sign language? This means mine. I need to go back to sign language school. I was trying to tell her that this, I think she thought I wanted.
Do you know that Blair Oaks has a sign?
Yep.
That blew my mind. Okay,
What will they come up with that?
well, I know, I think that's, I think,
I've got that.
Everybody sign their.
yes, make a motion. I make a motion, we stand in recess till 4:30 today. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Oh, it's not me.
We're gonna get there. Just, it's all new.
I don't want to just have.
So you're going on vacation?
I think
Yep.
March 1, 2 weeks. we
So
can-
we're fine?
Are you going south?
And then if you all have.
Well,
Doing?
Four Corners, I call it a Four Corners trip. New Mexico, Arizona, Utah.
Thank you, guys.
Southern